Jim. It's always a pleasure. It is very, very good to see you. Is it warm out there?
It's not too bad. Yeah, I said it was warm to Rocky, and he called me a number of names that this isn't hot. Basically.
Yeah. Why am I not surprised that Rocky Long would say something like that?
Yeah, he's certainly old school, that's for sure.
Well, it's good to see you, and thank you very much for coming in here. At least we have the air conditioner working.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we lowered that knowing that you were coming in here. Normally they don't let us do that because it costs the station money. So we're allowed to turn the AC on with you coming in. How's everything going as you guys get set? I would think is school back in session?
School's not back in session, but all our fall teams are in, and they've been practicing for a few weeks now, and really gearing up. A lot of preparation over the summer. The summer is shortened because a lot of our student athletes come in the summer now, and they get that jump start. Even as freshmen coming in as new freshmen, they get to start school ahead of time, and it's very helpful for them to get used to and acclimatize themselves to the college routine and all. So it really helps, but it puts strain on staff as well.
I would imagine if I talk to people on staff as well, and not just Rocky Long, although that's the closest sport. September 3rd is like right around the corner here, literally 9 days away. I'm sure he's probably to the level of nothing's ready. We're nowhere close to where we need to be, and I'm sure that's the point he's hammering home every day.
Absolutely, and I'd be worried if he wasn't that way, but he certainly is going to push them and make our team to be as best they can be, and that's happening with all our sports. We've got men's and women's soccer, we've got volleyball. They're all out there, and it's women's soccer was picked to win the Mountain West Conference, so they've had a couple matches already, beat Arizona and lost to Cal in overtime, so they've had a good start. But we're expecting great things this fall.
Well, this is a big soccer show, so you brought that up in the right place, because Marty is an SDSU alum, and of course I'm a huge soccer fan now, so we'll be out there watching a little bit of SDSU soccer at some point as well.
Great.
I was reading something earlier today. We had Mike Stoops, the head coach at Arizona, on, and while I was doing a little bit of prep work on that, I came across a story that was written in one of the Arizona papers about how their athletic director, is it Greg Byrne?
Yes.
Is that right? How he took all the student athletes in as they all had to report. They all had to get set here for practices and class and such, and however the schedule works at the U of A. And what he did is he pulled them all together in the basketball arena. And he said, every single one of you guys, pull out your cell phone. This is my number. This is my personal cell phone number. Put it into your phone. If you ever need me, given this time that we're in and this off season that we've had, I read that and I said, wow, that's an athletic director. Maybe some of it's symbolic, but it also goes to show you that he's saying, you guys call me any time of day, any weekends, nights, 3 o'clock in the morning, any sign of trouble, call me. I know you don't want to get those phone calls, but is that where it's gone to now with being an athletic director? That, gosh, you really do have to do this stuff 24 hours a day.
Yeah, you never get away from it, and I took a week and was up in Coeur d'Alene and enjoying the nice weather up there, but you never get away now with emails, texts, all of that, and I think that's very good. We have our back to school bash, we call it, and it's Monday night, and we'll the new president Hirschman will be addressing the group, and I'll be talking to him, but it's fun to get them back. We have a little barbecue, and that I think Greg did a nice job by offering that, and I wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
Is that right? So any athlete here,
I don't know about 3 in the morning though. I may have some restrictions.
Well, the good things don't happen at 1 in the afternoon, there, pal. They're happening at 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I just think it speaks to it speaks to what you got to deal with when you're in your position, because you can do your job. That's the thing about what you do. You can do it as well as you can do it. And it's still something can happen, and it's a weird job that you have.
Yeah, it is, and the closest coaches are even closer to it. Their life depends on the performance of an 18 to 22-year-old, and I'm certainly one step removed from that, but it certainly is, and part of it is sometimes people lose sight of intercollegiate athletics, and they're maturing. Part of our goal and mission is to make sure that they grow as people, and we have to get them from teenagers to young adults, young mature adults, and you try to do that, and there are slips along the way, and we need to help be there and educate and support and be a part of that development, and we want them to have a great college experience and a great athletic experience, but part of it, we have to hold them accountable too.
It's fun, yeah, because you get them when they're 18 to 22.
Yeah.
And think about everybody out there. What were you like from 18 to? It took me from 18 to about 32 until I figured that stuff out and got a lot of that stuff out of my system. So you can only imagine. But we're talking to Jim Sterk in studio here. Should college athletes, be held to a different standard than their classmates?
Yeah, I think so, because they're provided a lot of support and amenities and coaching, and whether physical training, medical support, and there's a responsibility that comes with that, and I think it's fair to hold them accountable, because they are in the spotlight, and they represent the institution, they represent their team, they represent their teammates, and I think it's certainly fair to hold them accountable. How
crystal clear do you have to make it to the student athletes what the rules are and what the rules aren't? This has been a bit of a turbulent off season here with some of the different things that have popped up and become public, and you guys have steered clear of that. I'm not putting you in that category, but how crystal clear do you have to make it to the student athletes, and how well do you think they understand what they can do and what is against the rules?
Some of it gets a little murky there as far as what they can and can't do, but most of it's pretty clear cut, and they go through a series of meetings. They obviously have their coaches, but we have our compliance director meet with each of the teams as they start, and then I remind them. My line is, no matter where you live, your grandma can find out you did something bad the next morning, and you don't want your grandma or your family to find out about you or read about you. And I use that as an example. And whether you're from Hawaii or across the world, you're going to be in the news if you do something wrong.
Right. Has it been from where we sit? It's probably a little bit different of a viewpoint from where you sit, but this off season with the college football stuff specifically, as somebody who's it's your industry, what's it been like to sit here and watch some of this stuff happen?
Well, it's a shame that that people do cheat or not follow the rules, because I'm a big believer in intercollegiate athletics and the purity of sport, and I want fair competition and those things. So I think if they do something wrong, I think they need to be severely punished. And how what people don't realize is the NCAA doesn't have subpoena power, so they're not like a court of law that they can require someone to come in and speak the truth. They have to rely on someone talking or someone getting information. So sometimes it takes longer than what you would like for some of those things, and obviously all of us would want it a lot quicker. But I think what you see and read, it's a minority of the things that occur in intercollegiate athletics. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of great collegiates that are getting a great experience. They're graduating, they're playing by the rules, and representing their institutions in a positive way.
It bugs me as a college football fan when people just say, and they don't really follow the sport, and they go, well, it's such a dirty sport, and come on, everybody's cheating and everybody's doing it. I'm sure for you, too, that's a perception you always got to battle. I mean, if you love college sports, it bugs you when you see that sort of stuff. And you're right. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't rules being bent, but it bugs you when everybody thinks and paints you all with the same brush.
Right. Yeah, there's a big difference. And if you talk to the coaches, they know. And the coaches know who's abides by the rules and who pushes the envelope on things. So,
do you think we see sweeping changes?
I think you see an emphasis of change, but there you go back 100 years and there were issues. Guys that had graduated 6 years before and they circled back and played with a team, or they got paid, or they were working for somebody. And so there's when there's competition, when there's human nature, unfortunately people make mistakes.
And it always seems worse in the moment. You mentioned that. You've probably seen the ESPN 30 for 30s. The most popular ones were the ones on the U. Yeah. And the one on SMU.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look back and people look back and they're like, man, those were the days, huh? Yeah, they look back fondly on that stuff.
Yeah, some of them.
But
yeah.
In the moment, it seems like the sky is falling on the sport, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not. And I think just like I was going through a tough time last year with budgets and challenges of cuts and tuition increases, and once school started and the student athletes came, it's a refreshing moment when they come on campus and they're all there. And not just the student athletes, but all the students, and they're there to learn, to get an education, to grow to be productive young adults, and that's what's neat about the collegiate environment.
Is college sports, especially at the levels, the two most popular, no offense to soccer and all that, but is basketball and is football, is it a business? Is it considered a business from the athletic department?
No, our number one goal is to make sure that they graduate, and if a kid exhausts his eligibility with us, we're 98% graduation rate. And we want to make sure that they leave with a degree. That's number one. And you'll hear Steve Fisher say that. You'll hear Rocky Long say that. You need to get a degree. And it's tough to focus some of those kids, that they've got starry eyes and they think they can make it at the next level. But they need to get that diploma that's going to stay with them a lifetime. And football or basketball won't be with them a lifetime. You or I can't dunk anymore. That anymore.
When could you do that?
A volleyball I could.
Yeah.
I had small hands.
All right, last one on this, and then we'll just ask about San Diego State, because I know you but I appreciate you. It's not every day we get this kind of access to somebody like you. And Jim Sterk's here and in studio. When you hear somebody say that college football players or college basketball players should be paid, you just heard me going on about Little League stuff. What do you think when you hear that? When somebody says that, do you shake your head? Do you say they have a point? I mean, what goes through your mind when you hear somebody say, well, gosh, these guys, they've got to get paid?
I think you're getting too far away from the love of the game and playing and the opportunity to play. And a student athlete for us, we've looked at it, and it's over $100,000 a year that we spend on that student athlete a year to put them out on the basketball court or on a football field, and it's I think the what's coming up now is the cost of education, and I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. And people don't know if a student athlete and he's receiving a scholarship, if he has true need, there's Pell Grant opportunity, there's need-based opportunity for that person, and
nobody ever brings up.
No one ever brings up. So there's opportunity for them to do that. We also have a needy student fund. So if a kid, has can't afford a coat, can't afford medical or dental, his family, or he doesn't have dental insurance and he can't afford it, we can help and assist that student athlete with those kinds of things. So it's not like there's a lot of things that they need, but the cost of education, I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. And then what we have to look at as an industry is, okay, what is going to be included in that cost of education, so it's a fair distribution or a fair comparison from school to school to league.
Jim Sterk in studio. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back because we will talk. Cal Poly's right around the corner, September 3rd. I'm sure you guys are still selling season tickets, so people can still sign up for that. I love your guys' home schedule with Boise State and TCU and some school up from the Pacific Northwest, Washington State or something like that. You may have heard of that. So we'll get to all that. You can go to goaztecs.com, right?
Yes,
and people
correct.
can still find the schedule there and all the info. You got a phone number you want to throw out real quick?
goaztecs.com.
That's it. All right, good. Website. Mike May will get you caught up to speed here. How proud this city is of Marshall Faulk. And this city really, unlike a lot of places in this country, really embraces its own. What was it like when you're the athletic director and Marshall does that for your program?
Yeah, you can't get a better testimony.
Hold on. Let's give you a microphone. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't, get a better testimony. And then to know him this past year and a half as athletics director, he really cares. He was speaking from the heart. He cares about San Diego State and he loves it. He had as much fun as anybody during our basketball season. He would go to away games. I'd see him there, and Marshall, what are you doing here? He goes, I love basketball. I love San Diego State. I want to be here. And so
he came on as an analyst on the show. We'd have him on and break it down
for basketball.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He's a great guy, and obviously just such a great ambassador for our program. And he coined the term Aztec for life, and that's been a mantra for our alumni association and the university. And I think it's something that's shared. The university is about passion, and I think Marshall is just a great example of that.
Well, I thought it was so good, and just in this world where everybody's paying for a little advertising time, and you got a billboard here, and hey, get our number out, get our website out. I mean, the eyes of the football world were on Marshall Faulk that weekend, and to be able to see that, you just got to sit there and say to yourself, that is something you just can't pay for, to have a guy like that say that about your program and your university.
Yeah, and Marshall, for those folks around here, we're going to kind of re-celebrate it, if you will, around our homecoming game with TCU, and it'll be Marshall Faulk Week, and the first 20,000 fans for that game will get a hat with the NFL Hall of Fame logo and his number and his signature on the hat. It's a great looking hat. There'll be some fights over that.
And
probably.
You can tell that, you can tell he meant it too. I mean,
yeah.
That's the greatest thing. A lot of guys can say stuff, but the fact that he rattled off his roommates and the coach and everybody, how I didn't choose San Diego State. That was the greatest line. I didn't choose San Diego State. San Diego State chose me.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. You had to have a tear in your eye on that. Did you write that for him?
No. He's a great speaker. He doesn't need any help.
We're talking to Jim Sterk on WX1090. All right. So football starts September 3rd against Cal Poly. You guys have a great schedule here. We mentioned it, and season tickets are still there for $66 for season tickets, and you guys are playing top 25 talent, Fresno State, Boise State, playing TCU, who you just mentioned there. It's great stuff. GoAztecs.com. How is football making the transition, Brady Hoke to Rocky Long?
It was pretty seamless, and I think Rocky, as a veteran head coach, was able to see what he needed to do, and other than the day we announced him at his press conference as a head coach, he told Lindley he was going to be a tight end and kind of scared him a little bit, but he has a good sense of humor. The team rallied around him, and we haven't skipped a beat, and I think they're excited about having him as a head coach. We're excited about that, and he's a veteran. Put a great staff together, kept our same offense and defense, so the kids didn't have to learn something new. And that's what you go through when you have head coaching changes. A lot of times you have a change of philosophies, and it takes a while for the team to get up to speed with it, and we have a zero learning curve on that, and I think it's helped us going into fall. And we thanks to Ron Fallon and the challenge gift he has given us, we have 2 renovated practice fields. Lacrosse women will be playing on the one, new field turf Revolution, and that's a great looking field, and then they have a grass field that football goes on exclusively. But it's all of those things put together. It's put a great start of practice, and as I told you before we went on, Rocky's not happy. He's not happy, and I'd be worried if he didn't, if he was happy with everything. But he wants more out of him. He's going to push, and I think that'll really help our team be successful this year.
And it's true that you didn't interview anybody else for that job, right?
No, I didn't.
You were that convinced on Rocky Long?
Yeah, I've known and followed his career for a long time. I started to talk to him in October, and Brian Sipe and I, Brian was my internal guy of understanding what it meant to have the continuity, what it meant to have someone like Rocky take over, and Rocky was instrumental in our success. To give you an indication, a certain school that our coach went to offered Rocky a coordinator position at about the same pay I think that we're paying him as head coach, and came at him a couple times. He meant a lot to our success in the past 2 years, and prior to that at New Mexico when he was head coach for 10 years. So it's not like we're getting a rookie here and someone that's untested.
A certain school?
He doesn't like to say the name.
So we're not allowed to talk about that.
You can
that state up north now?
Yeah, we're excited about that one.
Because Brady he'll call it Ohio. You guys won't even say you won't even say the word Michigan?
Yeah, I'll say it, but I just
go ahead, say it.
Michigan.
Okay. I just had to make sure there that you weren't bluffing on that one.
Yeah.
But Rocky won't say it.
No.
So in the build up, and that's week 4 of the season, September 24th. we're not going to hear Rocky Long say Michigan a lot.
I don't think so.
That's cool.
And we're 0-0 right now. I think there's been a lot of predictions that we're going to be 9-4 and 10-2 and 11-1. Mike just let me know, and I think Rocky, we have to win the first game, and that's all the focus right now is winning that first game against Cal Poly.
11-1. Which publication said 11-1?
Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated?
A writer from
SI. Wow, that is high praise there. Which game did he have you lose in Boise State?
Didn't say.
Okay, that is. Hey, that's great, predictions and all that. Now your team, though, does have to deal with that stuff. For years here, there wasn't a lot of pressure. There was no expectations.
Right.
And it's like Steve Fisher, when he had that first NCAA go-around, there's more pressure almost on the second time to make sure you do it again and prove to everybody it's not a fluke.
Yeah, I think, Rocky will tell you it takes 5 years to really build the program and bring it to a point you want to be at. And he would say we're at year 3, and there can be ups and downs, and he admits I thought so, and he validated what I thought, that we could be a better team this year. And how that plays out with the tougher schedule that we have 6 teams that have played in bowls last year. Army's no slouch. They won their bowl game, and you just go down the list. There's quite a few teams that are very successful, have been very successful, and have good teams coming back. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we could be a better team than we were last year. We're talking to Jim Sterk on XX1090. College football season around the corner here, opening up at the Q on September 3rd against Cal Poly. And season tickets on sale at GoAztecs.com. Basketball tickets, season tickets already on sale? Now Think about this. Think about the demand for the BYU game last year. Just think about that, and don't be caught out in the cold on that one. All right. Your conference always seems to make a little bit of news. Your network always seems to make a little news. Is there any progress being made here for the folks who live in Time Warner zones? Not to date. And Time Warner has a proposal in front of them to add the mountain, and we haven't heard that they are going to do that. And so it's disappointing from the standpoint of Cox has been a great partner, has teamed with us. We're putting more programming on there this year. We're going to have coaches shows, and Cox is going to do more with us and have all our football games on there, a number of our basketball games on there. So I think it is unfortunate. So people just have to, make a decision. If they don't make a decision here within a week, then I would say in order to get them out, if you're in North County, you've got to go to DirecTV and you got to do something else. Huh?
Funny you say that. Have you heard?
What?
Because I did that.
Oh, you did that?
I just did it last week.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was this week. I'm not even sure. I got up in a snit about reading that they won't even talk. They won't even tell you guys yes or no. Time Warner Cable.
We haven't heard a decision either way. And I mentioned it to the mayor, and mayor wrote him a letter, and he didn't even get a response. So it's really interesting.
From Time Warner Cable.
Yes.
So it kind of sounds like their customer service sometimes.
Yep.
So you don't expect any progress to be made between now and the start of the college football season?
I'm hopeful that it can be, and I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I think that they need to hear from people if they are deciding whether to go to DirecTV, and I think it's a last chance basically. I think because we need to get it now because people want to see it. We have ratings. We can show you ratings of our programs in the county that did just better than any Pac-10 school, better than anything that was on that day, and I think our San Diego State is growing as not only an athletics program but as a university, and the prestige and the interest is there, and I think Time Warner should be a good partner in the county and provide that service. And
I also noticed yesterday, I think it was, you guys sent out a press release that you will make a large percentage of your football games and basketball games will also be available on that Channel 4, but only for Cox Cable.
Correct.
Which is obviously a nice bone to throw to Cox, and it's also not going to be on the Time Warner broadcast. So that is also a statement there. It's a reward for Cox on one hand,
right,
but it's also telling Time Warner Cable, hey, listen, explain that to your subscribers.
Yeah, and Cox has worked with the Mountain and signed up for the Mountain from the start and been a great community partner that way.
Right, and people don't want to get bogged down with all the details of the politics between the two. They just want their TV.
Yes.
Just give us the NFL Network, and we won't order DirecTV.
That's right.
That's honestly the way I felt.
Yeah.
I lived in a Cox zone for 7-8 years, so I never had an issue with it.
Yeah, and I, moving into the area, I looked at, okay, can I get the Mountain on Time Warner? No. So I went to DirecTV.
That is it's unbelievable that 8 years now for the NFL Network, and how many years for the Mountain?
5 for
5
sure.
years, and still nothing, no movement whatsoever. I don't get it. A lot of people don't either, but they're making those choices. Have you been following conference alignment here? Are you thinking selfishly what could be down the road here for the Mountain West?
I think, one, we want to be the best we can be and win championships and build the Mountain West Conference as strong as it can be. What happens, I don't know. It looks to me like A&M will go. I think A&M will leave the Big 12. I don't think they would have been making all of this noise, but I think the folks in the Big 12 are trying to keep them in, but I'm just not sure that's going to occur. So there's going to be some change. What it means, I don't know, and it could come west with that.
Could, right?
Influence. Yeah.
I mean, Kansas State, maybe if they became available, you think the Mountain West would be interested?
Well, I think the Big 12 will stay together.
You do?
Yeah, I think they will. I don't think they'll blow up because they have the anchor with Texas and Oklahoma there, and as long as they have them, they'll stay together as an entity because their TV contract they just signed a deal with Fox and it'll be renegotiated, but it won't go away, and they're renegotiating their deal with ESPN.
How do you think you get to the point where you make a decision about your own university's future? In the last year, BYU, Utah, TCU, I was reading today at a Conference USA, SMU says, hey, we should be a Big 12 team. What about us? Consider us. Do you ever get to that point? Do you have to think a little bit selfishly, don't you, as the athletic director at San Diego State?
Yeah, I think that, I don't blame, Utah, and BYU is a little bit different deal, but I don't blame them for looking and going to the Pac-10 because there's such a win on the financial side, and for us, that's why we need to be as strong as we can be. We're in 22nd largest TV market. We bring a lot to the table, and our name is being floated out there as a possible option for possible realignment in the future. And what I need to do is make sure that we're positioned to do that. And the best thing we can do is have the success we had last year. Hire a guy like Rocky, keep Steve Fisher going as long as he'll coach and keep winning games, and that makes us an attractive candidate.
So you guys have been mentioned as a possible team for realignment, huh?
Yes, we have.
Pac-12?
Yes. Or, not the Pac-12, the Big 12, sorry.
You guys, your name has been thrown out in the Big 12?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
No, is that just behind closed doors? Am I the only one that's missed?
Actually, it was in the newspaper yesterday.
In our newspaper?
From our commissioner's lips.
In the Union Tribune?
Yes.
I had not heard that. That would be something that I would think. Would you be interested in something like that?
I think you have to look at that, and as I said, you have to analyze the pluses and the minuses, but
hey, automatic qualifier is automatic qualifier, right?
Right, but I think the Mountain West has a great chance of receiving that automatic qualifier this year, and then that allows us the opportunity to renegotiate our contract, our TV contract. So I think the Mountain West has a great future too.
This year, when you say this year after the college football season,
correct?
You think that you'd have to add a couple more teams, right, to get that consideration?
No.
You could go as is with the teams that you have and the addition of Fresno.
Yeah, Nevada and Hawaii, yeah. And you don't have to have 12. Like, for instance, the Big 12 only has 10.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And the Big 10 has 12.
Yes.
Yeah, we're teaching our kids the right things, aren't we?
That's right.
Let's not worry about getting them paid and just let them know what math is all about. But do you think automatic qualifier status is a realistic possibility for the conference? Just based on the current involvement piece.
We have a stronger performance in the three categories that the BCS set up. We have a stronger performance record than the Big East and the ACC in a couple of the categories. So what we have to, they want you to qualify in 3 of 3. We're 4th league-ranked team in one, we're the 5th-ranked team in another, and 7th in another. And so if we have a good year this year, I think it makes a strong case for the Mountain West Conference to be an automatic qualifier in the future.
How come all the schools in the Mountain West didn't want Boise State to wear their blue uniforms when they were at home?
How come? Have you ever tried to watch that on TV?
Well, it's because of the coaches, right? Because they get those little keys from up top, and it's tough to see it. It's camouflage.
Yeah, it is. I was a high school coach, and we had, we ran the wishbone, and you wanted to fake, and you wanted to cover it up. We had big red numbers that looked kind of like a ball. That whole thing goes, and I think it is an advantage. So I think it's
but you don't care if they do it to somebody else, right?
Non-conference, you just win all those non-conference games.
That's the great thing about college football, and it's so different than professional sports. Is people don't want the Giants to win in the West. They don't want Arizona to win. They don't want the Raiders, obviously. But in college football, you really do root for your rivals a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to see those teams win.
It'll be great to have Boise here at Qualcomm.
I agree. They are going to be something else too. I hope they beat Georgia in that opening week. It's right around the corner. Did we hit everything for you guys?
I think so. Thank you very much for having me on.
I'm very excited to see you guys this year. I think you guys have a great schedule. The game with that school on the road. The teams that you have coming in here between TCU and Boise State and Fresno, which is going to be an annual occurrence, and that'll probably be the last game of the year every year, right?
We're setting it up so both home and away it'll be the last game of the year.
And that's perfect. You play them more than anybody else in your history.
In the history, yeah. It revives an old rivalry that hasn't been around for a while, so it's fun.
You're following the Charger Stadium stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, am I wrong? The idea of playing downtown? Not ideal for you guys, or cross the bridge when you get to it?
I think it is cross the bridge when I get to it. But the closer to campus, the better for college football, I think. But it doesn't mean something like that can't work. It works in Pittsburgh. University of Pittsburgh plays in a stadium with a pro team, and they really do a good job of accommodating the needs of the college atmosphere on Saturdays, and so I think that's something that we would have to look at.
Pasadena, UCLA, something similar along those lines. Have you at least kicked the idea around about San Diego State having its own place to play?
Yeah, we've kicked it around, and it has to be part of what we look at in the future, and what faced with all the different circumstances, we have to be prepared for whatever happens.
There you go. That's the job of the athletic director. All right, so GoAztecs.com. You can call 619-283-SDSU. Tickets on sale, $66 season tickets for the football team. And for the basketball team, they start at $99.
Correct.
And those are on sale as well.
Yes. And there are about 20 home games. We'll have a great group of some new guys in there, but some veterans that'll do well too. So Fisher will put them together. He's had 6 20-win seasons in a row. I think he knows how to do it.
Good to see you, Jim. Thank you very much.